So growing up, me and my mom didn't have the best relationship, which is the reason why we aren't close. My mom was a single parent. She had me at 14. I have never met my dad before, and whenever I tried to talk about him, she'd get really upset and tell me that he didn't want me and that I will never meet him, so stop asking. She'd tell me that I was a mistake and that I shouldn't exist. I was at one point where I thought if my own parents didn't want me, no one would. She refused to ever give me hugs and kisses. She never showed me that she loved me. And I went through my whole life thinking that she hated me, and I didn't understand why. And it's sad because I can't even remember a time where she told me that she loved me. I felt like times she couldn't even look at me, and I questioned my whole life. What's wrong with me? Until I found out the craziest news, and it was that she birthed a child of her, and she couldn't truly bear loving me. But I will always love you. So growing up, me and my mom.
Story time on how my dad forced me into getting an abortion. And to this day, we still don't speak. So I started dating my boyfriend, Jason, when I was 15. My parents never really mind me having a boyfriend until I got with Jason. He graduated high school, and my dad didn't like the fact that he wasn't planning on going to college. He said that he was wasting his life, but in all honesty, my dad was upset because he was poor, and he felt as though he could never take care of me. There were times when my dad tried to pay him to break up with me, but he'd never take the money. And for me, that was just so embarrassing. Right before my 16th birthday, I found out I got pregnant, and I was kind of happy about it, even though I was still in high school. I've seen plenty of girls making it work. I, of course, told my boyfriend, and we told our family, but my dad wasn't happy about it. About a week later, he told me we were going to the doctors to go see how far along I was. When I get there, I found out I was in an abortion clinic. If you want to know what happened after that, let me know down below in the comments. Story time on how... This is part 2 of how my dad forced me into getting an abortion. So like I said before, my dad lied to me and told me we were going to the doctor to see how far along I was. And when I get there, turns out he sent me to an abortion clinic. I got upset asking what was he trying to do. He explains to me why I shouldn't have the baby. He tells me if I ever have the child, he would never support me and that he will kick me out of the house. And that sooner or later, me and Jason would break up, which he was sort of right about. I felt like at this moment I had no help, and I told my dad I wanted to call Jason. So he gave me a quarter to make a call on the payphone, and he didn't pick up. My dad explains to me that he's not reliable and that this will be the best decision for the both of us. I thought I didn't have a choice, and he manipulated and gaslighted me into getting it, which I didn't know what he was doing at the time. But I got the abortion, and right after, I felt so numb. I couldn't even face Jason, so my dad lied and told him that I had a miscarriage. It's been years since then, and I still have regrets knowing who my child could have been. This is part 2 of... Wait, stop. Don't scroll. Send this to your... Story time on how my boyfriend cheated on me with my best friend. In high school, I was not really popular, but I was talking to this one guy. Let's call him Nick. Nick was also known for cheating, but he told me that they were just all rumors. I also had a best friend, and let's call her Anna. So fast forward, we started dating, and one day I get a text from him saying, "Hey, can you come to my house tomorrow to watch a movie?" So I text him saying, "Of course, meet you at 7. He says, "Okay, see you." The next day, it was 6:30. I started driving to his house for the movie. Well, while I was driving, he probably texted me asking to cancel, but I was driving, so I didn't hear it. So I pull up at his house, and he's in his bedroom. Well, he must have seen me look at him because he looked like he was talking to someone and told them something about hiding. If you want a part 2, let me know down below in the comments.
This is part 2 of how my boyfriend cheated on me with my best friend. So remember when I told you guys I was on my way to his house? Well, he texted me while I was driving to cancel the movie date, and I didn't know because I was driving. When I get to his house, he's telling someone to hide. I was curious, so I went to his house. By the way, I had a copy of his keys, and I went straight into his bedroom, and I could hear sounds coming from the closet, so I checked it, and it was my best friend, Anna. This is part 2 of how my boy...
To finally drive up to your house, but today I drove through the suburbs, crying 'cause you were... To finally drive up.
Story time of how I had an affair with my brother-in-law. By the way, I was 12 and he was 22. This happened a while back. I'm now 16. At the time, I was 12. I barely got on social media. I wasn't really supposed to have it, but I still had an account. So at a family party, I asked my brother-in-law if I could use his phone to go onto my account. He gave me his phone, but when I gave it back, I realized I forgot to log out, and I was, of course, texting other guys, and he obviously saw the conversations and read all of the messages between me and the guys, which I believe made him give hints to me, and he started talking to me, but I didn't really notice at the time. There were times when I did see him, and he'd get very touchy. I would tell him to stop, but he told me if I ever told anyone about us, he was going to tell everyone, including my parents, that I was talking to other guys on social media. I didn't want to get in trouble, so I didn't say anything. If you want a part 2, let me know down below in the comments. Story time of how I had an affair with my brother-in-law. By the way, I was 12 and he was 22. This happened a while back. I'm now 16. At the time, I was 12. This is part 2 of how I had an affair with my brother-in-law. By the way, I was 12 and he was 22. So, like I said earlier, he threatened to basically tell everyone that I was talking to other guys on social media if I told anyone about what was going on between us. I was scared because I wasn't allowed to have social media, so I played this game. Until I was 15 and he started inviting me to places alone, so I agreed, and he later forced me into doing nasty things. I had no other option because I knew if I spoke up about it, I'd be the one to blame. He started asking for pictures and I'd send them, but then I started to ask for things in return, like ordering things online for me. So it was going on for a while, and I would send him pictures in exchange for him to order stuff for me online. Until about a month ago, I was on my sister's iPad and I forgot to log out, and she saw all the messages of him asking for pictures, and thankfully I said no and kept denying it. Yes, I know I suck at logging off, but to this day, me and my sister barely. This is part 2 of a story time about the worst date in my entire life. And ladies, this is why you should really know a guy before meeting up with him. By the way, we're calling him Slim Jim. So I met Slim Jim over Instagram. He was cute and he lived in my area. He DM'd me about a date. So a couple weeks later, we went out to dinner. During our date, he seemed pretty cool, but he kept looking down at his phone. I didn't want to get upset because he wasn't my boyfriend. When we ordered, the guy literally gets $200 worth of food, and me, on the other hand, I got a $20 solid. But all throughout the date, he kept looking around and I was so confused. And he constantly said that he needed to go to the bathroom. He told me that he took medicine that made him go to the bathroom a lot. The last time he went to the bathroom, he was going for like 30 minutes, and at that point, I was irritated and ready to go until a random girl walks up to me asking if I knew Slim Jim was here. I told her we were on a date, and she basically told me that she was his girlfriend and baby mama. If you want to know what happened after that, let me know down below in the comments. A story time about the worst. This is part 2 of the worst date in my life. And the reason why, ladies, you need to really know a guy before meeting up with him. So, like I said before, he left me at a table for like 30 minutes, and I got upset because I thought he was trying to ditch me to pay the bill. Well, then a couple minutes later, a girl comes up to me asking if I was on a date with Slim Jim. I told her yes, and she basically explained that she was his girlfriend and baby mom. Well, at this point, she was his ex-girlfriend. She starts telling me the craziest things about him, that he robs people, and that he will soon be doing time for being a part of a murder investigation, and that I should stay away from him because he had HIV and that he gave it to her. I had to ask her, how did you find him? And she tells me that he takes all his new girls here. Then she leaves out the restaurant. 5 minutes later, Slim Jim comes back and tells me he thinks he dropped his wallet. In my head, I'm assuming that he's trying to make me pay for the $200 dinner. So I tell him that I have to go to the bathroom. I'm running out of time. This is part 3 of the worst date in my entire life, and the reason why you ladies need to really know a guy before meeting up with him. So his baby mom comes in and tells me the craziest things about him and then dips out. Slim Jim comes back out of the bathroom claiming he lost his wallet, so I had told him that I needed to go to the bathroom. When I get into the bathroom, I'm looking for an escape plan to leave out. When I get out of the bathroom, I walk the opposite way of a table and almost make it out of the restaurant. Next thing you know, I'm getting tapped on the shoulder and I turn around and it's him. I'm literally so confused because he was just sitting down the whole time. He asked me where the hell was I going, and I told him I was looking for the bathroom. He starts to act very weird. He walks me over to the bathroom and literally waits outside of the bathroom door until I get out. And guys, I didn't know what else to do. I needed an escape plan, and I saw a window in the bathroom and literally climbed out of the window to get away from this man. Then 2 weeks later, come to find out, he gets arrested and he's given 23 years in prison. This is part 3 of the... Ladies, this is the reason why you need to watch your surroundings even in the daylight. So earlier this morning, I had to go to the dentist to get my teeth cleaned. There's my little baggie. My mom, she couldn't really take me, so I had to take public transportation. And I'm from Philly, so I took SEPTA. So the trolley station was a couple blocks away from my dentist's office. So as I start walking, there's a man behind me yelling and shouting. And he walks around me, and so I'm thinking he's probably talking to somebody else. So he turns around, comes towards me, and starts telling me, y'all black, just weird. So I'm like, obviously this man is crazy, so like, let me continue minding my business. Then he walks up to me again, asking me why am I following him. So I keep walking, ignoring this man. Then he runs behind me and tries to snatch my purse. And literally, it's broad daylight. Alright, I'm running out of time. Y'all let me know if I should make a part 2. Ladies, this is part 2 on why you ladies need to really watch your surroundings, even in the broad daylight. So, like I said before, I'm on my way to the dentist, and this man is literally shouting at me, and I'm ignoring him. And this man literally runs from behind me and snatches my purse. And guys, my purse is not even snatchable. This is my purse right here. It's like a basketball purse or whatever. And the thing is, my jacket was over my purse. So when he tried to yank my purse, he yanked me and I fell on the ground. And as he was pulling on my purse, he was basically dragging me. But luckily there was like an older man outside, and he took his stick, well his cane, and he started hitting the man with the cane, and he just ran off. See, this is the type of stuff that happened in movies. Like, I would have never thought in a million years that that would ever happen. I really don't feel comfortable walking around here no more. This is part 2 on why...
I'm getting tired of me same makeup looks. What to do? What to do? Wait, I know. Watch me put on 100 layers of foundation. Primer first. Sorry, do not mind my crusty nails today. First layer. And I already didn't like it. But great coverage, boo. Layer number 2. Layer 3. Layer 4. Layer 5. Layer 6. Layer 7. Layer 8. Layer 9. Layer 10. Layer 11. Layer 12. Layer 13. Layer 14. I went and put 32 layers off camera, but I watched The Bachelor so I wouldn't get bored. Ready for the final results. Sorry, I ran out of foundation. Come back for part 2. I'm getting tired. This is part 2 of putting 100 layers of foundation on. Let's go. I got a different foundation because this the only one CVS had. We left off at 46 layers. This is really not me color. It's given Donald Trump at a tanning salon. Also, do not read this at home. Also, what the hell is wrong with the text? Speak, that's not what it says. At this point I'm at 80 layers. Y'all roast me in the comments. For real, I need something to laugh at after I wake up with the breakouts all over my face. Final results, bit low-key, not too bad, right? This is part 2 of putting 100 layers of fun. My boyfriend is an inspiring makeup artist. Please support his work. Please boost this so he can make it big. He's using concealer as foundation. He's beating the hell out of my face with the damn brush. This contour make me look like I got a beard. I'm very uncomfortable on camera like this. I look like a damn ghost. I look like a damn clown. I don't think it goes this way. He messed the hell up again. What do you guys think? He's charging $500 for a face beat, so go support. My boyfriend is an
Story time on how my wig came off in front of my date. The guy I was meeting up with on the date was one of my friend's co-workers. She actually set us up because she thought that he would be my type. Fast forward, we go to Fridays and we're having a great time. And he seems like a nice all-around type of guy. Now, that day, my wig was slayed, and I believe the hair was like 30 inches. When the waitress comes over, she gives me and my date our plate of food. Before she leaves, she asks us if there anything else we needed. We said no. Then she put a pen that she had in her hand in her back pocket, and like I said before, my hair was really long, and she ended up sweeping a few of my hairs in her pocket. When the waitress walks away, my wig pops off, and me and my date are in shock. He stares at me for a good 10 seconds, and I tell him I needed to go to the bathroom, and I also got my wig back. But when I come back out to apologize and continue our date, he disappears. Oh yeah, and I also ended up paying for the whole date. Story time on how my wig. This is why you should never eat peanut butter. So my cousin just had her baby girl, and she was just getting around and learning to be a new mommy. But she was really messy when it came to changing diapers. When Father's Day came, she threw the party and invited all the family and their kids. When everyone gets there, everyone is having a good time, and she pulls out bread and starts making peanut butter and jelly sandwiches for all the kids. In the middle of her preparing, her daughter starts crying, and it's because she needed her diaper changed. So she went into the bathroom to change her diaper, and after she got done, she handed her to me and starts to wash her hands. Afterwards, she just went right back to making the sandwiches. Once she got done, she handed all the kids a sandwich, and I noticed that she had peanut butter on her arm, and I told her to wash it off. And she was like, no biggie, and licked it off her arm. And she realized really quickly that it wasn't peanut butter. This is why you should. Story time on how I got caught stealing tampons. Yes, I know tampons. Anyways, this was when I was in 6th grade, and at the time, I didn't even start my period. But my best friend Katrina did. She'd get really cute pads and tampons. The one with butterflies and flowers. And I was so jealous because I wanted to keep those cute packets in my purse and take them into the bathroom. So one day after school, I go into a pharmacy and I see the exact same tampons that my friend Katrina had, but they were like $24 and I didn't have that. So I stuffed a box of tampons in my book bag and I tried to walk out. But before I get close to the door, an employee stops me and takes me into a room. And guys, when she found out what I stole, I didn't even get in trouble. She actually bought them for me, and she bought me Tylenol. Story time about the psycho neighbor that stalked me. So, when I graduated college, I moved into a new apartment. When I first got there, I was moving my things in, and my neighbor introduced himself and helped me move a couple of things upstairs. After we had got done, he asked for my number, but I told him I wasn't really looking for a relationship. But he said, let's just swap numbers just in case, a fire happens. So I gave him my number and I really didn't think nothing of it. Maybe a week later, he starts knocking on my door and giving me gifts just about every day, like teddy bears and flowers. Then maybe about 2 weeks later, I told him to stop because I wasn't really interested in him. So the next day, I wake up to make coffee and take out trash. When I pass my living room, the teddy bear gift that my neighbor gave me makes a click noise. When I quickly rip the teddy bear open, it's a camera inside. Like for story time part 2 about the psycho neighbor that stalked me. So, like I said earlier, the teddy bear gift that my neighbor had gave me makes a clicking noise. When I quickly rip the teddy bear open, it's a camera inside. And I go into a panic mode. Out of nowhere, there's a knock on my door, and it's my neighbor. He says, good morning, it's me again. You left your trash too close to the curb, so I moved it for you. I realized that my door was still open, so I try to run over and lock the door, but he just opens it. I yell at him, telling him to get out. He closes the door behind him and says, that's no way to talk to a neighbor. I start backing up. He looks over and sees that I ripped the teddy bear apart. I didn't know what else to do, so I just ran to my room. And he chases after me and pulls my hair. Like for part 3. Part 3 about the psycho neighbor that stalked me. So he comes in, I run into my room, and he chases after me. Before I could get up, he pulls onto my hair and starts dragging me towards the kitchen. I saw the coffee that I had made earlier, and I was able to pick it up and throw the hot coffee in his face. He starts screaming loud, and I took that chance to run into my room and lock the door. I immediately start calling the police, and from there, it sounded like he ran out of my apartment. When the cops came, they're doing an investigation, and all the gifts that he gave me all had cameras in them. And when I told them about my neighbor, They did some digging, and come to find out, that man wasn't even my neighbor. He didn't even live at the apartment complex.
This bracelet is worth $3 million. Okay, so now that I got your attention, guys, I'm having a huge giveaway. A 14-day giveaway. That means I'm giving away prizes each day for 14 days. Now tell me, who you know? You'll be winning lashes, lip gloss, palettes, whatever you want. Now, rules. Each day after a winner is announced, there'll be a new set of rules for the next winner or the next giveaway for the next day.
I'm begging you, please stop scrolling. A bunch of minors are going missing and people are finding videos of them being raped on Pornhub. The hub is literally profiting off of this and getting thousands of dollars. The fact that there are thousands of videos of children getting raped and killed on various porn websites is so disgusting. I don't care if you have 1 follower, 2 followers, or even a 100 million, please just use your platform. I'm tired of some of y'all choosing to ignore these problems. I'm begging you, please stop scrolling.
This is why you should never eat tasty cakes, and why I can't ever look at a coffee cake the same. So a couple years ago, my dad went to my uncle's house to come visit, but he was super hungry. He asked my uncle if he had any snacks. My uncle, of course, said yes. Then my dad went to his kitchen and saw that he had tasty cake coffee cakes. Boy, he was excited because my dad loves sweets. He went to go sit down to watch the game with my uncle, but when he took a bite of the cake, he said it tasted really moist. He ate half of it, then noticed that some of the crumbs on the tasty cake disappeared. When he took a better look at the cake, he realized that the tasty cake crumbs were maggots. This is why you should never eat tasty. This is the reason why girls lie about having a boyfriend when guys try to talk to them. Last week, there was a woman in Harlem, New York, and she was brutally attacked by a man after turning him down. This 31-year-old mother went to go buy a bottle of wine after work. 2 men walked in the store and one of them offered to pay. And she politely declined and said no thank you and that she could pay for it for herself. When she got ready to walk out, the men basically said that she thinks she's better than them. The men followed her out and threatened that what was she going to do about it. So she tried to ignore them and go about her day. Then they chased her across the street, kicking her, and one of the men tried to bite her eye out, but ended up biting her forehead, leaving a deep wound. She was screaming and she just wanted to get her daughter. Story time on how I accidentally joined a cult. And the guy who was the head leader, I soon found out that he was a pedophile. At the time, I just graduated high school and I was not planning on going to college. So all I really did was work. At my job, I met this guy, and we're going to call him Devin. Devin was sweet, but he was so into spirituality and connecting with God. We started talking, then dating, and he asked me if I could come to his church. And when I was younger, I used to go to church, but I stopped going. No real reason why, but I thought it was my calling to reconnect with God again. When we go to his church / AKA the cult, when I first go in, there's like 10 people in the church and it was run down. It looked like we were in someone's house. When we walked down the aisles, Devin introduced me to their head leader, which they called Father God. He told me that my clothes were too revealing and he literally slapped my ass and laughed. Like for part 2. Story time on how I accidentally joined This is part 2 of how I accidentally joined a cult, and the guy who was head charge was a pedophile. So like I said earlier, we met his pastor, which they called Father God. The first thing he do is basically say that I look like a slut because of the clothes I was wearing, and slapped my ass. I looked at Devin, the guy that took me to their church, aka the cult. He laughs and tells their Father God that next time he would tell me about their dress code. After that, we go sit down and I tell him that I was ready to go. He tells me to hold on and just please listen to the service. Anyways, when their Father God starts service, he goes in about women and what they should wear, tell them the only way to be a pure woman is to obey their man, and blah blah blah, and dress godly. Just the most insane things ever. And everyone in there were like hypnotized and catching Holy Ghosts, jumping up and down, rolling on floors, passing out, crying. Their Father God calls me up and asks if he could use me as an example. When I stand up, he feels on my breast saying that I'm a temptation for married men. Like for part 3.